In a few days, players from all over the world will be able to relive one of the most impactful adventures in video game history. Love it or hate it, Resident Evil 4 is responsible for a significant change not only in Capcom's franchise, but in several games that followed, and now, it's time to revisit the Spanish village in the mold of the new console generations. Since the revitalization of the saga driven by Resident Evil 2, the concept of reimagining has entered the vocabulary of the Japanese company, as well as in conversations, specialized media content, and of course, in several social media posts. According to Capcom, the term was used so that the public would not expect games that were exactly the same as the originals. This direction can, in fact, serve to add more coherent layers to survival horror narratives. In the remake scheduled for next Friday, March 24, the idea remains the same. In addition to updating the stories and discarding parts that no longer make sense, and no, I'm not talking about the clock tower in Resident Evil 3. This reimagining also serves to connect important points in the saga's timeline. It's the perfect opportunity to interweave the stories even more. But how can Resident Evil 4 Remake suggest new connections with the established universe of the 1990s revisited in interesting ways in recent projects? This isn't big news, but it's a detail that few picked up on while playing Resident Evil Village. The fact is that Duke, from the 8th game in the franchise, and the Merchant, from the 4th, are likely friends. When Ethan meets the Merchant in the title released in 2021, especially in the demo, Duke makes a joke about a friend from distant lands. This acquaintance, apparently, is the Merchant from RE4. One of the interesting changes proposed by the Resident Evil 3 remake is the expansion of information on Nemesis' origin. According to the reimagining, the biological weapon is one of Umbrella's first experiments with Las Plagas. The artificial base of the monster that pursues Jill Valentine is derived from the parasitic organism that causes Leon's terror in Resident Evil 4. Nemesis can be mentioned during gameplay in some file, and enemies infected by it can also appear during gameplay. Perhaps this is one of the most curious connections proposed by the remake. In the Resident Evil 4 trailer released during State of Play last June, a symbol engraved on a stone piqued the curiosity of many fans. The insignia is extremely similar to the Mother Miranda cult crest, which has a circle surrounded by wings. In addition to the natural similarities between the games, from the village to the atmosphere, apparently the reimagining will bring other ways to interweave the stories. With the promise of presenting a reimagined story that can surprise even the most fanatical fans of the original game, according to the game's release, all the new connections will finally be revealed on March 24. When Resident Evil 4 arrives to players worldwide. The game will be released for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S, and PC, via Steam.